So in my last video of budgeting, I looked at going for my monthly expenses, and I put in there that I hire a car through my workplace electric car scheme. So the question really is it possible to get a cheap Tesla? And I think it is, but I think anything through this process, we weren't actually owning the Tesla, we're just renting it from the company. But I wanted to explain how that works, and I'll go through what that means in terms of salary sacrifice. It's a term that's used in payroll. Often with pension schemes, you see this term salary sacrifice, but no one really knows what it means on electric cars. Or if you do, kudos to you. So I'll talk through that and then how it actually compares if you went to Tesla directly. So first of all, let's look at a normal monthly pay slip. If you're in a full-time employment or part-time, you'll get a pay slip from your company and you'll have the gross pay, and then there'll be deductions. So that's anything that comes off your gross pay in terms of tax or national insurance. And for this example, I've also shown pension contributions. All that's taken off, and then the net pay is the amount that ends up in your bank account on a monthly, weekly, or however you're paid. But what changes is that deductions piece in the middle on a salary sacrifice scheme. So you can move it left or right under salary sacrifice, and that's when the real benefit comes in. And I'll walk you through an example based on a salary of £60,000 per year. So that puts you into the higher rate, the 40% tax band. If we look at gross pay of £5,000 per month, I've used a quick salary calculator tool to work out the deductions. And I've included a pension deduction in here of a standard 5%, which is sort of the entry level pension. You'll end up with a net pay of £3,634. And if you think about that's your monthly amount of money that you can then do what you like with, if you were to go out and get a car lease of £600, that's how much will be taken from your net pay. So you'd end up with £3,034 left. So where salary sacrifice differs is that £600 is taken from your gross pay. So if you remember on the previous slide, that gross pay was £5,000. So I've changed that now to 4,400 to take into account that £600 car lease. That reduces your deductions to £1,098, leaving your net pay of 3,302. So let's compare that to the previous one. We had £3,634 on the previous net pay. So there's a difference of £334 a month. That's just by moving that car lease payment from net to gross. And the saving comes in that middle bit. You effectively don't pay tax or national insurance on the £600. So the net pay is far better. So how does that actually work? There's a workplace car scheme. Most companies can do this, and it allows you to buy a car through the company. So it is a company car in that essence, and you will pay something called a benefit in kind tax, but that's really low for electric cars. The company will normally have a portal, so let's run through that. So how does that compare if I went to Tesla directly? So let's pop over to their website, go to vehicles at the top and choose that Model Y. There's a few options when you get to this page. I've left it on the rear-wheel drive version, and I'm going to edit the finance terms. At the moment, it's under a business contract hire. I'm going to change it to 15,000 miles, change the down payment to 1 month. So just be aware, you'd have to pay £519 first. You can see that's that £519 is to go for a business contract hire. So that's the company hiring the car and keeping the VAT, which makes it a bit cheaper. if I change that over to a personal contract hire, so this is comparable to the previous example of the workplace scheme. Down payment again, change to 1 month, change the mileage to 15,000 and leave the term on 36 months. It's £630 per month. There's also a PCP where you normally pay like a lease for a while and then pay a balloon payment at the end. So down payment minimum you can do is £2,000, 36 months, 15,000 miles, 0% interest, which is pretty decent. £592 a month, but you'd have to pay a final payment in the small print here of £21,490, but you own the car at the end of it. Finally, if you look at hire purchase, change the down payment to zero, 36 months, and that's how much it costs, 1250. So that's if you actually purchased the Tesla itself. So I think all of this, it's worth calling out that if you do it through the company car scheme, then you won't actually own the car. It's just like leasing it. But the contract hire works out at £630 a month, and doing it for a salary sacrifice is 455. And I think the other benefits to call out on salary sacrifice, doing it for a car scheme, is normally you load all the maintenance costs, insurance, and all of that stuff just goes into the monthly cost. So that 455 doesn't include the insurance, just for like complete transparency here. I think with insurance, it works at about £550 to £600 a month, but you wouldn't get that with contract hire anyway. So this is a like for like comparison. But all of the maintenance is included, tires, breakdown cover. So it really works out, I think, as a cost effective way of owning a Tesla or any electric car and not suffering that massive depreciation curve as well and losing out. So that's the end of this video. Keen to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. I'll see you on the next one.